morning. Welcome to TryHard Reading Corner 13. I think this looks the right way. Quick flash if it doesn't. 13. Can't even fit two hands anymore. That's an achievement, I think. If you can't tell, I am nicely burnt. This is the thing, I can't tan. I burn and then it turns into a tan. But I have to say, this past week has been gorgeous. So if you're scared of going outside for some irrational reason, face your fears, go outside. You won't regret it. You might get burnt a little bit, but that's because you need sunscreen, okay? So get some sunscreen. Yes, I don't know what's really going on with my hair. It did look like a little croissant at first, but now it's like turning on me. And you know what? I'm gonna own it and flop with it and just go with it. So, you know, it's been a while since I got to share one of my Little Miss Johnson stories, and so I thought I'd take some time and do a pretty infamous one. Okay, yeah, this one's a good one. I will just call it the Escalator Story, and you'll know why. When I was a child, I had a strange fascination with escalators. Loved them. They were magical stairs that moved you places. Number one, got you someplace and you didn't have to do anything for it. Number two, just the sheer fascination of like, oh, we have to get on now. We have to get off now. It was like a game. It was amazing. And whenever my mama took me to the mall, because they have the best escalators, if I was good, she'd let me like do a couple laps on the escalator and then we'd go home. Because like, that's all I needed in life. And it was amazing. So, I've always loved a good escalator. Now you need to keep that in mind because that will be important for the story later on. So, I always say So, in high school, I believe my junior year, I attended the March for Life in Washington, D.C. It was a great opportunity. You get to march for the rights for life. It's also kind of like a fun, faith trip where you get to meet a lot of kids from the diocese, and you do this huge thing, and we got to see some cool museums. It was awesome. It was gonna be a great trip. Now, mind you, we had to take buses. I think we had 3 or 4. We had to take buses, and we had to sit in this bus for 32 hours. We did not stop for a hotel. 32 hours, okay? So just imagine being forced to sit in the same seat. Yes, we went to the bathroom, we had gas station breaks and all that, but not like truly getting to do or move how you want to for 32 hours, because that is also very important for the story. So that's where I was, sitting there getting stir crazy, and then we finally made it. We made it to DC. I was so excited. And the first thing we did is we went to the American History Museum. Very first thing. Very, very, very first thing. Like, I don't even think we stopped to put our bags in our hotel yet. So we get there. I'm very energetic. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm so happy. I'm so excited because I finally got out of that bus. And I'm walking in. I'm like, whoa, look at that, whoa. And then I see it in all its glory. They had an escalator. Now, it's like, okay, Miss Johnson, you've seen an escalator before. I know you're a little crazy right now because you've been on a bus for a while. Why are you freaking out? Here's why I'm freaking out. Because think of the average like mall escalator you've seen, double it in length, okay? So like if this was just one normal, it was like this long, okay? And it was amazing. And I felt like there was like this shining spotlight and angels singing, oh, it was fantastic. So people are excited to see the exhibits. I was excited to see this escalator. I was like, that is awesome. I love it. But then I had this moment of panic and I paused and I said, well, I can't waste this escalator ride. I've been in a bus for 32 hours and I might never ride an escalator that looks this beautiful. Very important things to keep in mind. So as my classmates are like normal humans, just like getting on the escalator, I'm standing there and I'm thinking, and I don't know what to do, and then it hits me. I know exactly what to do. Hopefully you all love Christmas and you have seen the famous film Elf, right? Now remember, when Buddy the Elf first gets to New York City, he goes to a mall or shopping store, shopping department, and he encounters an escalator for the very first time. Now what does he do? Think about it. First he's scared, then finally people are like, no dude, you gotta get on. And he rides the escalator, but he rides it in the splits because of his fear, and he's just riding in the splits all the way up, okay? Now, I am not scared of escalators, and I cannot do the splits, but how cool would it be if I tried and did it? Also, my classmates would think it's hilarious, and who doesn't need to laugh right now? We've been trapped in a bus. So, I was like, watch this. And all my classmates are like, what's she gonna do now? So I get on the escalator and I let my first foot like start gliding up and the other one is just hanging back, and I am in the most splits I can ever be in, okay? Physically, like I'm not full down splits, but it's like pretty split, banana split, okay? So I'm holding on and I'm like so proud and I feel like I'm flying and I'm smiling and I'm so excited. Now, granted, I forgot how long this escalator was, so I bet you I was probably I thought like it would be like 30 seconds of funny. It's probably like 4 minutes of funny. And if you expect something to be 30 seconds and it's like 4 minutes, like you're gonna feel it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in the splits. And so I'm like laughing, I'm smiling, I'm so proud of myself. Like who isn't proud of I'm so proud. So I'm going, and I'm just distracting myself by the sheer glory and amazingness that I am doing on this escalator, that when I finally get to the top, there is this sheer moment of panic of, well, how do I get off? I am in full splits. It's not like I took a squat and then I stood right back up. Like I am in full splits on a moving metal staircase. That doesn't sound safe. So I'm freaking out, I'm thinking, and then I'm like, the movie, the inspiration of it all. And I think back to that movie, and I'm thinking, and they don't show Buddy the Elf getting off. They only show him getting on. And that's when I knew, oh, I'm in trouble. This is bad. So as I'm going up, and it's that part where all the stairs are like kind of meeting and like morphing together. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen an escalator. As this is happening, I'm like, I just got to swing my back foot up so I can at least stand, you know? So as I swing it back, my kneecap perfectly hits the metal staircase. And like those edges, they're not like baby proof or little Miss Johnson. I'm not even little anymore. Miss Johnson proof. They aren't idiot proof, I guess, either. But they're like sharp. They're metal. They like morph together. And so I perfectly knee this stair, and then I like cartwheel roll onto the second floor of this museum. Now, I am crying because of the sheer pain, and I'm also laughing because I have fully come to terms with how dumb of a decision I have just made. So I'm just kind of like laying on the floor, and my mama was always there when I do the silliest things. My mama was already there, and she rode the escalator like a civilian before me. So she's standing there and she sees me on the floor and she like runs to me because she thinks I'm dying, and I kind of am. And then she realizes I'm laughing, and I'm like, oh, Mom, you should have seen I did the splits. But I'm crying because like my knee hurts. Oh my goodness. And so she's like, well, you need to get up. And like, I honestly didn't think I could. It hurt so bad. But also understand how embarrassed I was. I must have been really not feeling well, and my knee must have been really hurting if I was like socially okay with like rolling around on the floor of a national museum, okay? So finally, Mama like pulled me up, and I was like, maybe it's just really sore because it just happened. And I looked down, and like I was wearing jeans because it was winter. My whole like knee of my jeans was just covered in blood. And so I was like, what? So we went to clean me up, and remember, this is our first stop on a multiple day trip to DC. So we finally like cleaned myself up, but like, it's not like I need stitches, but I definitely need like something to stop the blood. So my mom, so like we covered it with like paper towels and stuff, and my mom went to the gift shop because that's the only place she could think where like a Band-Aid was, because like they didn't give us Band-Aids. Do you know how much my Band-Aid cost? I got a $7 Kermit the Frog Band-Aid. $7. And it was like a pack of 3. It was ridiculous. But I slapped that puppy on. I was like, we're good to go. So I'm kind of like hobbling around, like kind of have a little like lag in my step because I just like popped my kneecap almost. And then like after that museum, I was really sore. Like I was dying. And they're like, okay guys, let's walk the National Mall, which is like basically a person who like dinged their knees, worst nightmare. In DC, it's not like we were getting taxis everywhere we go, and our bus would take us to like really long distances, but like we are walking everywhere. And then when you get to the place you want to get to, you walk around that place. DC's full of museums. So I'm just kind of hobbling along. And then also like the march, I marched the march with my nasty knee. It was horrible. So then on the way home, we were at the Battle of Gettysburg. Not the battle, but we went to the Gettysburg land site, and my knee was hurting so bad, like I just didn't even want to leave the bus. And so, and my kneecap was, it looked like somebody glued a softball on top of my knee. And so then when I got back, we went straight to urgent care, and I got myself a brace. I didn't even break it. I was like, Mama, I broke it. I didn't even break it. And don't worry, the next year for my senior class trip, we went to DC and I redeemed myself. I did the splits again, which part of me now is like, why? But I practiced and I was able to, successfully get off. So I've actually done the splits on that escalator twice. Once as a complete failure and once as a complete success. I still got a scar from it. And, yeah, that was nutso spaghetti-o. So yeah, if you ever get on an escalator, just stand there like normal pedestrians. Don't be Little Miss Johnson. It was horrible. It hurt so bad. And I had to wear a brace for months. It was not fun. But yeah, so there's a Little Miss Johnson story for you if you like that. We are back on a Wayside day. I'm so excited. Let's see where we were. Ooh, we talked about Paul, Pigtail Pullin' Paul. Remember that guy? And then we talked about Dana and her mosquito bites. Today, this is a good, every time I read this, I say this is a good one. I know you're like, Ms. Johnson, you say, it's good. It's just so good, okay? So, we are going to read chapter 12 and 13, and the first chapter is Jason. Okay, Jason. So let's do this. Jason had a small face and a big mouth. He had the second biggest mouth in Mrs. Jewell's class, and there were an awful lot of big mouths in that class. Mrs. Jewells, Jason called without raising his hand, Joy is chewing gum in class. Joy had the biggest mouth in Mrs. Jewell's class, and it was always filled with gum. There was hardly even room for her to move her tongue. Joy, I am ashamed of you, said Mrs. Jewells. I'm afraid I'll have to put your name up on the blackboard. That's okay, Mrs. Jewells, Jason said. I'll do it. Jason hopped out of his seat and wrote Joy's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. That was sneaky. While he was up, Joy took the glob of gum out of her mouth and placed it on Jason's hair. Rondi and Allison giggled. Jason walked back to the blackboard to his desk and sat down. Mrs. Jewells, I'm stuck, he called. Rondi and Allison giggled again. Mrs. Jewells got angry. Joy, you're going home on the kindergarten bus today. Oh, good, said Todd. I'll have company. Todd went on the kindergarten bus every single day. He could never seem to make it to 12 o'clock without getting in trouble 3 times. His name wasn't even on the blackboard yet, but he knew that by 12 o'clock it would be up, checked, and circled. Mrs. Jewells, what am I going to do? I'm stuck. I'm going to have to stay here for the rest of my life, said Jason. Joy, tell Jason you're sorry, said Mrs. Jewells. I'm sorry, Jason, said Joy. Oh, that's okay, said Jason. I don't mind. Just try to get up, Jason, said Mrs. Jewells. But Jason tried. I can't, Mrs. Jewells. I'm stuck. Mrs. Jewells took the 3 Erics for help. Eric Fry and Eric Ovens pulled Jason, and Eric Bacon held the chair. Stop, said Jason. You'll rip my pants. Rondi and Allison giggled. All right, said Mrs. Jewells. Let's try ice water. That should freeze the gum and make it less sticky. I'll go get some for Miss Mush. Miss Mush was the lunch teacher at Wayside School. She had the remarkable ability to undercook a dish and overcook it at the same time. Her specialty was a nice hot bowl of mud. She called it porridge. Jason looked at Rondi and Allison. "No, Mrs. Jules," he said. "Don't leave me. Besides, Miss Mush's ice water is probably warm." "Don't be silly, Jason," said Mrs. Jules. "I'm sure it will be at least as cold as her soups." Rondi and Allison leered at Jason. "No, Mrs. Jules, don't go," begged Jason. "I'll be right back, Jason," said Mrs. Jules. She went to Miss Mush for some ice water. As soon as Mrs. Jules stepped out of the door, Rondi and Allison jumped to their seats and started tickling Jason. He laughed until his hair turned purple. The girls got back to their seats just as Mrs. Jules returned. Mrs. Jules carried a big pot of ice-cold water. "Oh, no, please don't. No," Jason pleaded. "We have no choice," said Mrs. Jules. She threw the water all over him. "Well," said Mrs. Jules, "try to get up." Jason was drenched. "I'm wet, and I'm cold, and I'm still stuck." "Oh, well, it didn't work," said Mrs. Jules. "At least we tried. Now I guess we'll just have to cut your pants off." Rondi and Allison giggled. "No, Mrs. Jules, no," Jason screamed. "I don't mind being stuck here. Really, I'm comfortable." "Don't be silly, Jason," said Mrs. Jules. "Don't cut off my pants," said Jason. "The 3 Erics will carry you to the bathroom," said Mrs. Jules. "I'll ask Louie to call your mother, and she can bring you a new pair of pants." Then 3 Erics took a hold of Jason's chair and turned him upside down. "No, Mrs. Jules," said Jason. "Now I always have a place to sit down. I won't have to worry about finding a seat on the bus." The 3 Erics began to take him away. "Wait," said Joy. "Mrs. Jules, if I get Jason unstuck, do I have to go home on the kindergarten bus?" she asked. "All right," said Mrs. Jules. "If you can somehow manage to get Jason free, you don't have to go home early." "Don't trust her, Mrs. Jules," said Jason. He was still hanging upside down. "I'll just kiss him," said Joy. "No!" screamed Jason. "Don't let her kiss me, Mrs. Jules. Throw water on me, tickle me, cut off my pants, hang me upside down from the ceiling, but don't let her kiss me." "I'll just kiss him on the nose," said Joy. We've got nothing to lose, Jason," said Mrs. Jules. "Ooh, who wants to kiss Jason?" said Allison. Jason hung helplessly upside down. Joy stepped up and kissed him on the nose. Jason fell right out of his chair and hit his head on the floor. Rondi and Allison giggled. "Darn," said Todd. "Now I have to go home alone again." Joy erased her name from the blackboard. Chapter 13, Rondi. Rondi had 22 beautiful teeth. Everyone else had 24. Rondi was beautiful because she was missing her 2 front teeth, and those were the most beautiful teeth of all. "Your front teeth are just so cute," said Mrs. Jules. "They just make you look so adorable." "But Mrs. Jules," said Rondi, "I don't have any front teeth." "I know," said Mrs. Jules. "That's what makes you so cute." Rondi did not understand. "Oh, Rondi, I just love your 2 front teeth," said Maricela. "I wish I had some just like it." "But I don't have them," said Rondi. "That's why I love them so much," said Maricela. "Oh, this is silly," said Rondi. "Everybody thinks that the teeth I don't have are cute. I'm not wearing a coat. Don't you just love my coat? And what about my 3rd arm? Don't you just love it? Don't you wish you had one?" "Love your hat, Rondi," said Joy. "I'm not wearing a hat," screamed Rondi. "But that's what makes it so interesting," said Joy. "Don't you think so, Leslie?" "Oh, yes," said Leslie. "It's a very nice hat. Nice boots, too." "I'm not wearing boots," Rondi insisted. "Yes," said Joy. "Very nice boots. They go so well with your hat." "What hat?" asked Rondi. "Yes," Leslie agreed. "Rondi shows excellent taste by not wearing the hat or the boots. They go so well together." Rondi had had enough. She covered her head so nobody could see her hat. She put her feet under her desk so nobody could see her boots. Then she closed her mouth so tight nobody could see her 2 front teeth. Suddenly, everyone started sitting near her began to laugh. "What's so funny?" said Todd. "The joke Rondi didn't tell," said Jason. "Ask Rondi not to tell it again," said Todd. "Rondi?" asked Calvin. "Don't tell it again." Rondi was horrified. She didn't know what to do. She kept her mouth shut and just stared at Todd. To her amazement, Todd started laughing. "Hey, everybody," called Todd. "Listen to Rondi's joke." Rondi didn't say a word, but the rest of the class began to laugh. Mrs. Jules got very angry. She wrote Rondi's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. "The classroom is no place for jokes," said Mrs. Jules. "But Mrs. Jules," said Rondi, "I didn't tell a joke." "Yes, I know," said Mrs. Jules, "but that's the funniest jokes are the ones that remain untold. Okay, okay, said Rondi. If that's what you want, then that's what you'll get. I'll really tell you a joke. That way I won't disturb the class. And tomorrow I'll wear boots and a hat, of course, and you won't like them as much as the ones I didn't wear today. And I better hurry up and bring a joke before you all start to laugh. There was a monkey sitting in a banana tree. He was very hungry. He knew that somewhere in the tree there was a magical banana, and that once he ate that banana, he wouldn't be hungry anymore. So he ate one banana. That wasn't it, so he was still hungry. He ate another banana, but that one wasn't it either. He was still hungry. Finally, he ate his 10th banana and he wasn't hungry anymore. I knew I'd find it, he said. It's too bad I didn't eat that one first. I wouldn't have to waste all the other bananas. No one laughed. No one had even listened to Rondi. Mrs. Jules was busy teaching arithmetic, and everybody was paying strict, close attention. Rondi slapped herself in the face to make sure she was really there. She was. The bell rang for recess, and Rondi ran outside. She was very upset. Louis, the art teacher, said to her, or saw her. "Why the frown, Rondi?" he asked. "Come on, smile. Let me see your cute front teeth." Rondi screamed. She socked Louis in the stomach, bit his arm with her missing teeth, and that was the kind of bite that hurts the worst. Isn't that a weird one? That one always, I'm like, what? I'm so confused, but I'm entertained. I love Wayside. Well, that's it for TryHard Reading Corner 13. I think this is right, 13. 13. I hope you enjoyed it. Be safe on escalators. Hopefully you aren't on any right now. That's probably full of germs. Don't do that. But I love you. I miss you. I'm proud of you. I'm praying for you. Keep up the good work. Keep trucking along. But yeah, I hope you have an awesome day. See ya.